What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over the news you might have missed for November 28th. That's right, the series is back, and it's because there was a lot of news that came out today. So let's go over the things that I didn't cover. Like, I covered Gotham Knights, the heroic assault on my main channel. I'm only going to cover things I didn't talk about on my main channel. That way, if you guys want to watch even more news, you could go to that channel and check that out. Starting with the first thing, which was the Tony Todd Spider-Man 2 tease, and I will call it that because that's kind of what it was. He had teased that there was going to be something, a project, I would say, related to him was going to be talked about or shown today, November 28th, on Monday, and he said that last night. And, okay, well, he's not just Venom in Spider-Man 2, right? He could be, he's in other things, he does other projects, but then he started to retweet and like tweets, which was like the Venom clip, the really fast, shot at the end of the trailer that Venom is in. And, it would be one thing if people sent that to him in his replies and he ignored it, or even liked it. Liking it is like, all right, well, you're kind of giving us hints there, but he retweeted some of them, so very odd. And then, long story short, it didn't happen. So the news today wasn't on Spider-Man 2. So got people hyped up. I mean, I know obviously you shouldn't probably get too excited over an actor saying, hey, news on a project of mine is coming the next day. But when you retweet the tweets that are Venom and Spider-Man 2, kind of odd. So false alarm, stand down, all of those kind of lines for Spider-Man 2. Number 2, though, something that kind of was a false alarm, but not really, is Spongebob. SpongeBob SquarePants, the Cosmic Shake, the game, and it's up for pre-order, It was up for pre-order at Best Buy. Now, that actually isn't even the most surprising thing. It was taken down. There was a pre-order up for it, and that was taken down, but it was $20. So I don't know if that's the correct price, because that's extremely, extremely cheap. It does seem like this game, the Cosmic Shake, is very much like a Battle for Bikini Bottom 2, like that kind of game. But I would expect like a $40 thing. I don't know if it would be $60. I think actually, I believe Battle for Bikini Bottom was also $40. So being at $20, now maybe that's why they took it down. They either took it down for a variety of reasons, but it could have been because the price is wrong, or because there is no release date and they don't want to get people, too hyped up. This game does seem like it's probably ready. There were rumors of this game. I think there's actually one site that posted it, that it was coming out in January, and then it was taken down, and it's not up there anymore. So this could come out within the next, 3 months, for all we know. But $20, if it's $20, that is super cheap, but also pretty cool. But again, it was up on Best Buy, then it was taken down. Next up, we have the next Professor highlight for Hogwarts Legacy. So we got one last week, and then now we get Professor Ronan, who is the Charms Professor, a Slytherin, right? And we get a little bio on him. Awesome. I mean, there's not too much, honestly, to say. I do believe Chandler Wood, the community manager for Hogwarts Legacy, he had tweeted that he will specifically, this Professor Ronan, he will specifically be giving us a couple of spells, which we kind of knew, right? Seems like every professor that has cutscenes and will have, somewhat dialogue and all that stuff, they will provide us with something important or crucial to the game. So good to see. Now we got that 2 weeks in a row. We got the Defense Against the Dark Arts Professor last time. Now we get him. I assume they're doing it weekly, and there's still actually several professors left. So hopefully they keep things rolling. The fourth topic I want to talk about, and this is a general topic. A while ago, there was a rumor, a rumor that DC was going to include games basically in its universe. So the games, the upcoming DC games, along with, now the change of James Gunn kind of running it, right, that the games would be tied to the movie universe, and also television and all that stuff. They'd all be kind of interconnected into one thing. And that was a rumor, and I wasn't a fan of it. Now, it depends on how it's done, but I just wasn't a fan. And now, last night, it was confirmed by James Gunn himself on Twitter, in which somebody asked him if it was going to happen. So the actual quote was, or the actual question is, are there plans for games to be connected to the DC universe as well, Mr. Gunn? And he said yes, simply yes. Now, again, I don't like that. If you're talking about, and again, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, and Jedi Survivor are probably good examples. If we're talking about that, that's okay. If we're talking about how they need to exist in the world, like Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, they have to exist inside of, George Lucas's Star Wars. You can't break rules, you can't break established lore, but you can tell your own story there. You just can't do anything that goes against what's, what is in motion. And if that's what he means, that's fine. I really don't have any issues with that. But if he means that games are going to be linked so heavily with the movies that you're going to get like a Superman 1.5 as a game, or like the Wonder Woman game. They're going to like inject the Patty Jenkins kind of thing into it. I am not a fan of that. That is really, at its basic kind of definition, you're restricting what these games can be. Honestly, it should just be make whatever game you want. I actually am a guy who prefers that you stick within canon. Like I am a big stickler with don't break established rules of universes, and I like studying up on universes of different franchises. I respect the heck out of that. However, I will say, when it comes to a game, it's like, well, it should be separate. The Spider-Man game is separate, right? Like, these games are successful, probably, part of the reason, not the only reason, but part of the reason is because they don't have to worry about fitting in. Again, now Jedi Fallen Order kind of proved that you can fit in and still do something kind of new, and they did it really well. So hopefully that's what he means. And again, like, what does that mean? The Wonder Woman game is years. It's been in the works for years. Do they have to like inject it now, or does that get a pass? Warner Bros. Montreal's second game, like, does that get made with that in mind? It's going to be tough because a lot of these DC games are already going. Like, you can't stop Suicide Squad Kill a Justice League. You can't do, so you have to do the next game, or whatever. So I don't like it at all. It depends on how it goes for sure, but I'm going to lean towards maybe it's my personality. I'm leaning towards the negativity a little bit more, just because I just don't like what it sounds like. I don't like where I think it's heading, even though there's a little wiggle room of that it could still work if done right, and we'll just have to see over the coming months. And then the final news story that probably slipped under the radar to many people is there was a Starship Troopers game that was announced. Now, this is awesome. One of my good friends growing up, and still my good friend now, he loves Starship Troopers, and he actually introduced me to the franchise. And while I'm not a fan of really any of the things besides the first movie is awesome, and that's the only one that I think is honestly really good. But now we get a game that's a 12-player, basically just a multiplayer thing where you just face waves and waves and waves of the enemy, and you defeat them. And the gameplay looks rather okay. It doesn't look like it's gonna blow my socks off or anything, but just kind of odd, where it's like, oh my god, Starship Troopers, like, that's still around. And it really isn't. I would argue it really isn't still around, but trying to replicate that movie, especially the first movie, into a game, I think you could do it with all the bugs, and you can kind of get that sense from the gameplay trailer, gameplay preview, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be in early access, I believe, first, and it's going to be in 2023. So that's pretty exciting as well. So let me know, guys, what you think about any of these stories. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.